You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-Day Chiropractic Bootcamp, Moveville University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, The Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, the Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Chiro Hustle. I'm your co-host Luke Millette, and here's your host Jim Chester.
Hey everyone, so today we had an opportunity to interview Tory Robson, and he runs a group called the Winner's Edge. And if you want to learn about more drive and how to get to the next level, listen to this episode. So the first question I'll ask you is, what is your chiropractic story and what influenced you to become a chiropractor?
Well, I grew up in Great Falls, Montana, and I graduated from high school, and I was going to be an architect. So I went to Montana State University in a real cool town called Bozeman, Montana, and I was going to be an architect, got involved in the architecture program. I started cruising along, and I realized there were people that were a lot more into it than I was. They had cots next to their drawing tables. They would just sleep there. And even though I was pretty good in the program, I realized I didn't have the same energy for it a lot of these other people did, so I wasn't quite sure about what I wanted to do. So actually, after my first year in college, I joined the Air Force. I grew up next to an Air Force base. I had jets flying around, my house all the time. It was part of my life. So I joined the Air Force. I got done with the Air Force, some full-time action. I went back and became a part-time Air Force guy, so I could go back to college at Montana State full-time, and then good fortune came my way. And as one of our heroes, Jim Rohn, might say, who can explain good fortune? I was starting to see a girl, and her name was Tory, just like mine. T-O-R-I, I'm T-O-R-Y. And she mentioned that her dad was a chiropractor. Didn't know what a chiropractor was, didn't know what a chiropractor did, could have cared less. And her parents came to town to go to a football game, and he laid me on a futon couch in her little birdhouse of an apartment in Bozeman, Montana, and he worked on my lower back. And it felt unbelievably good. Was working out quite a bit, Air Force activity, whatnot. So I stood up and I just kind of I didn't say anything because I'd never experienced anything like that, but I felt it. I thought, wow. And he said, well, you might want to think about becoming a chiropractor. So I wrapped up my time with the Air Force, met all the requirements to move on to chiropractic college, moved to Minneapolis to go to Northwestern for a chiropractic school. And I knew it was for me. I knew I was going to be good at it. And I'm as excited about it now as I was then, as I was as soon as I graduated, as I was 10 years ago. And I'm pumped to be here with you today.
What an interesting story. I had no idea that people were that dedicated that they had cots next to their architectural studies.
Well, yeah, because the demands in the design classes for building models and all this and that, it's one of the most grueling undergraduate degrees that exists because of that. And so a lot of people just have cots and little microwaves, and they just stay in that building, you know what I mean, and work on their stuff. And I realized, wow. And then I also realized when I got to chiropractic college, that's how I felt about chiropractic. See, yeah. I wanted to study it all the time. Technique, hands-on skill, getting results, communication skill, understanding the chiropractic story, chiropractic history, being able to explain it, handle all the questions people have. I wanted to be a chiropractic powerhouse from the get-go.
Yeah, I could tell that the first day I saw you out at New Beginnings. And I was telling you, I listened to the episode of you on Chiro Candy. I could tell that from your delivery from that podcast I listened to with Billy Sticker. And I just knew right away that you were somebody that had a high level of intensity for the chiropractic message, and that you had to have obviously had some really in-depth training as to why you became in the position that you were. And I guess our next question that we have for you is, what does make you unique in the chiropractic world?
I know what counts. I know what's relevant. I know what really matters to people. I know what really matters. There's what people think matters and what their parents think should matter, what society, says that you should have as priorities. And then there's what really matters. I'll give you an example. In the Winner's Edge world, we have a philosophy here based on 4 different things: love, health, career, and money. Those are the 4 things that matter. Love and relationships and all the spiritual things in a person's life fit into that top category, love. Then you got your own health and fitness, and then, of course, your career and your practice, and then your personal money situation and power in life. Love, health, career, and money. That's what matters. And all of the training we do orbits around those 4 things, goals, and those 4 key areas. And you break it down to those 4, you'll see that it's true. And once we have an understanding of that, well, then we can pursue greatness in all 4 of those areas. So I think one thing that makes me unique is my ability to teach, my ability to understand what's important and get it compartmentalized and get it to where there is no excuse for not being successful. Because I've got 500 videos on how to do everything. I've published now like 34 CD and DVD sets. I do all these events every year. I have 5,000 phone calls a year with chiropractors, all of these things. I've got my finger on the pulse of chiropractors, chiropractic, what is happening exactly right now, where this whole machine is headed. And so relevance is what matters. So when people hang out with me, I'm going to make the numbers change in your life that are the numbers that matter. And we want to do it with love and relationships intact, incredible health and fitness, and of course with a foundation of generosity and dedication, and what we sometimes call the Doberman philosophy. A lot of people know me. I'm the guy that raises the Dobermans. I help rescue Dobermans. And when you have a dog of that caliber, you learn a lot. You know, you don't have to teach them to be loyal. You don't have to teach them to be dedicated. You don't have to teach them to stay physically conditioned. You don't have to teach them to stand for what they believe in. You don't have to teach them to defend what they believe in. And I'm telling you, if chiropractors were a little bit more like the Dobermans I have, or the Doberman philosophy, they would be better off. And so we kind of come from a position of aggressiveness, yet there's a generosity and a care and a concern and an empathy. But we stand for something. We don't waver. It's not negotiable. Chiropractic is for everybody, and that's my responsibility to try to get as many chiropractors as possible, seeing and helping as many people as possible, while simultaneously our secondary mission is to elevate the net worth of the entire chiropractic profession as high as possible.
So, do you have any mantras or quotes that help you with your momentum and your commitment as a chiropractor?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I ever read this anywhere, but I would say it like this. I just want to leave everybody I meet better than when I found them. I want anybody who interacts with me to be better than when I found them. Through whatever reason, through some inspiration, motivation, something they learned, something they saw. You know what I'm saying? I just want to leave the people that I touch better than when I found them. That's the deal.
Well, I feel
personally and professionally, I might add.
Yeah, well, I feel that from you today. You know, I love the direction. I love your intensity. I love your certainty. I think that what you're sharing with us is going to be an amazing episode for Chiro Hustle listeners. When people have so much direction and certainty that they have arrived and they know their purpose, I think that that's something that people are going to walk away with after listening to this episode.
Yeah, you want to become a force to reckon with. See, you want to become valuable. I just want to be valuable. That's it. I just want to learn things. I want to be physically and mentally in such a state that I'm valuable. I want to be valuable for you today. I want to be valuable for the listeners. I want to be valuable to my patients, valuable to my team, valuable to people that meet me anywhere. I want to be of such a human being with what I know and my ability around people to share or give or whatever influence I have. I want it to be valuable for other people. Any success I'm going to get in return will come 100% from how valuable I've been for you.
So were you always like that, even as a young boy?
No, I just wanted a cool car. I just wanted, if it was pointy and fast and made noise, I liked it. Dragsters, power boats, hot rod cars. That's it. I just wanted to have a cool car. In fact, I remember when I was in 5th grade, Mrs. Redpath, the 5th grade teacher, was talking about the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second or whatever. And she goes, or as Tory would say, it rips. No, but at a young age, seriously though, I wanted to be good at whatever I did. I always took pride in my work, and it wouldn't matter if I was stacking a cord of wood, if I was doing something around the house. I wanted to be good at whatever it was I was doing for myself, and maybe because I wanted the people around me to be proud of me because I was good at whatever I did.
That's awesome. You know, just hearing you say that makes me want to stack wood better.
Oh, dude, growing up in Montana like I did, you know, we in fact, the kids have a little swimming pool in their backyard, a little metal one, and you put a little, you know, we would put that thing up in the wintertime, and you'd fill it full of wood and put a tarp over the top of it. We had a wood stove that we would use in the center of the house. It was like no joke. In fact, in my book, Money, Chiropractic and You, which I'm not sure if you have a copy of, maybe you did get a copy of it, I actually have a picture, and I'm not sure if you'll see it here, but there's actually a picture of me as a kid, and here's the wood stove right here. And in fact, there's a piece of tin foil in the front of it because there was a little kind of an opening below where the door was. We didn't want to let any sparks come out and light the house on fire. In fact, I'm wearing a Minnesota Vikings t-shirt when I was a kid. And sure enough, here as I sit right now, the Minnesota Vikings headquarters is about 2 blocks from me. Weird.
That reminds me of the vision that Gary Vaynerchuk has about owning the New York Jets.
Yeah, amazing. You know, just things carry you into the future.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. You know, growing up on the streets of Davenport, Iowa, in the shadows of Palmer College, I lived exactly 1.2 miles away from that school, and I had no idea that I was going to be a front runner as I got into my second part of my life for sharing the chiropractic message to the masses and really being a force to be reckoned with, just like you.
Yeah, it was like a seed that was planted and it had a gestation period, and now here we are, rocking and rolling.
Just like the old story, like the little acorn turns into the mighty oak.
Yeah. Who put that intelligence in that acorn anyway? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that evolved. That just over millions of years, somehow an acorn knows how to turn into an oak tree. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
Let me clue you in. There is a God, and it's not me.
But you know, we get so many hours in a daily episode, just like everyone else does. It just depends on how you format your life around those hours that you're allowed to have on a day-to-day basis, and whatever we think that we can accomplish with what we have. And I guess the next question for you leads right into that is, what could we accomplish if more people knew about what you're doing with the Winner's Edge?
Well, I think if more people knew what we were doing, it would completely transform the entire chiropractic profession. And here's why. And it's not, okay, it's because certain principles always work when they're applied. I will give you an example. The very first 3 things that I do with any chiropractor that I meet and gets into my group, if they can get into my group. Number 1 is we have to make sure we're absorbing the best success material in history. The Magic of Believing, The Science of Getting Rich, The World's Strangest Secret, anything by Jim Rohn, the highest quality success, The Master Key by Charles Hannell, the highest quality success teachings in history we must understand, along with our chiropractic foundation, our chiropractic philosophy, and all of those things too. Like I'm sitting here right now, I have every Joe Strauss book, I've got the Fred Barge books. Here they are right here. My favorite one, that's the very first book I recommend every chiropractor read if they're a student or if they've been on practice for 35 years. Are You the Doctor, Doctor? By Fred Barge. Well, so we know that. And then phase 2 would be this. This is going to sound kind of interesting, but we have to have clearly set goals. Most chiropractors don't advance because their goals are not set in such a way that they will actually pull them forward. They think they have goals, but really they don't until they see me lay them out for them. We have all our goals for 2 years ahead of time, and for the current year, and then we break them down to the month and we break them down to the week. And once you do this, something fascinating happens. A lot of people don't understand the magic here, but you can't build a house without a beautifully detailed floor plan. And so how do you make a plan like that for a practice? A practice is a nebulous thing. You can walk into a practice, but that's just the facility. A practice is what? Well, it's numbers on a piece of paper. That's what a practice is. Patient visits, retention, new ones, all that kind of stuff. And so how do we lay out what would be the equivalent of a floor plan for a house and do it with a practice? Well, we do it by creating all of our goals. And when this is done in a certain way, which we've got down to a science, it'll take a struggling chiropractor and get them over the top, an average chiropractor into a powerhouse, and a powerhouse into the stratosphere. Because it's just the laws that govern success. And then phase 3, immediately we declutter. We take the chiropractor and we say, we want you to eliminate about a third of every single thing you own in your life. Shoes, socks, underwear, utensils, chunks of furniture, things in the trunk of the car, every single file folder at work, every single cupboard, every single shelf, at home, at the office, everything. If you don't get rid of 12 contractor bags of stuff or 2 truckloads of stuff, you didn't do it right. So what do we just do here? Now, to give you an idea how basic this is in the physics, see, chiropractic success is a physics problem. It's particles moving through a container, it's fluid dynamics, people within the constraints of time moving through a certain square footage of space. It's actually a physics problem, and most people don't know this. There's a flat-out science to growing a practice, and most people are oblivious to this. But I try to show them how this really works. And once they understand it, then success just becomes a matter of following the steps. But anyway, so we declutter. So here's what we've done. We've cleaned out a bunch of stuff in your life physically, which also clears out a lot in your mind in a very weird way. So we've just created a vacuum, and we've set very clear goals. So now the targets are set so that every single thing we do from that point forward, anything that's a system, procedure, promotion, marketing, whatever, every single thing we do will now be moving us toward those goals because the goals are set. And we've created room for all of that good and all of that new to come into our life.
Amazing.
This may seem basic and simple, but this has to happen. People in other coaching programs, and I think there's tremendous coaching programs out there, but they're not like what we have. Because if all I did with you is get you to declutter everything and get your goals set clearly, and I said, see you later, you just talk to me in a year from now and you tell me if you think that worked all by itself, let alone when we do the 100 other secret weapons that we have here that I've invented or that I've developed over time, because I'm here to win. And that's the end of the story. Okay? And it's not about me winning. Who cares about me? I'm fine. It's about me. Can I get that chiropractor win? Can I get her to win? Can I get him to win? Can I get that chiropractor to grow and reach more people and get the referrals and change thousands of lives in their community while simultaneously building an incredible life for themselves and their family and their future? That's the name of the game. People think in chiropractic it's not all about the money. Well, no, you're right, it's not. Unless you get to the end and you don't have any. Then you realize it actually was.
Yeah, I definitely hear the certainty in your message, and honestly, just listening to you makes me realize I feel blessed to be able to talk to you today and be able to have you share your pearls of wisdom with me for what you've experienced and how you maintain your certainty and how you've helped so many people with the same type of mantra and message. And it sounds like to me, Dr. Tory, is what you've done is you've reverse engineered success. And then you lay that out to somebody and make it very simple for them and very rudimentary. And then all they do is plug and play and figure out what step they have to do on that day and that week and that month and that year. And for the next 24 months, now they have a successful blueprint for themselves. And I'm going to go one step further. Back in the day, I never made a blueprint, but I framed houses. So what I didn't have to know was what I didn't have to know was how to blueprint the foundation. I didn't have to know how to blueprint everything, but what I did have to know was how to lift it. What I did have to know is how to cut it. What I did have to know was all the things that showing up on time. And I did have to know safety. I did have to know the things of how to tack down the Tyvek membrane around the plywood. I did have to know that stuff, but I didn't have to know the blueprint. Somebody else knew that, and they just knew that I was going to go to work and lift the wood that needed to be lifted, and cut the wood and nail the wood, and put the glue on the certain joists, and to make sure that we were following the general contractor's lead. And before you knew it, we had, Tory, we had a house.
That's right.
And then what we did is we had a neighborhood, and then we had families move in, and then we had contributions to society, and we had people out there that were actually following someone else's lead because they had figured it out, but they had no idea how to build a blueprint.
That is true. You just described building a practice simultaneously. That's what we're building. We're building something. In fact, that's the question for every chiropractor. What are you building right now? What are you building? Because we're building something. We want to build something that's incredible, that we can be proud of, that serves the area. See, we have a thing here, again, another mantra in the whole world of Winner's Edge. You want to be the most successful chiropractor who ever lived in your area. Saw the most people, had the most referrals, was the most generous, the most respected, the most incredible results. Okay, that's our whole thing. We want all of our members to be the most successful chiropractors who ever lived, ever, in their area. That's it, flat out. National champions across the board, a complete blackout of success. That's what we seek.
Yeah, I want to join your coaching program, and I'm not even a doctor.
Dude, if I hung out with you for about 20 minutes, not because of me, again, it's not me. I just know a lot of good things, and I'm able to teach it well. I'm a very average guy who just worked harder than maybe some people, okay? So I'm not special. The material is special, and it will work once you apply it, because they're just the natural laws that govern achievement in a human being's life.
So this gets me off on a little tangent with you, and I don't know if you knew these stats, but after 5 years of practice, 1 in 2 chiropractors fail. And I don't know if you also knew this, but by year 7, most of them become despondent with practice.
Yeah, well, we'll fix that in a hurry. Those sissies. Only 4 things hold a chiropractor back. It's either they're lazy, they're weak, they're cheap, or they're stupid. That's it. That's all it is. And if you look back in your life, if things there were times where I've been lazy. There were times I was weak when I should have been stronger. There's times I was cheap when I should have sucked it up and paid what I needed to pay to get the information I needed. And there's times I was stupid. It's just the nature of life. But when you look at chiropractic, okay, and each one of those has a scale. We're going to have to have a certain aggressiveness. We're going to have a certain amount of strength. All right. We're going to have to be very, very smart, and we're going to have to do what? We're going to have to pay with time, effort, energy, and money when we need to advance. And in our world today, the harder something is, the less likely people are to do it, because we're breeding a bunch of sissies today, and it's too bad. That's one reason I train jiu-jitsu all the time, is so I can get choked and arm locked and literally fight consistently during the week. One, to maintain a certain level of toughness, and another one is to get humbled. When you get choked every week of your life, that'll cool a guy off, and that's very important for people, especially the more successful they become.
Yeah, it reminds me of Tim Grover. I just saw him speak at 10X GrowthCon, and he's the guy that trained Michael Jordan to become a champion. And,
he has a great book, doesn't he?
It's called Relentless.
Yeah, that's some book, isn't it? In fact, I think I have that book. Yeah. You mean this book right here? You mean that one?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a neat book. And he's a high caliber person. Boy, he'd be a great person to listen to. I'm jealous.
Oh, it was amazing. Like, he did drop quite a few F-bombs, but he told people that he got the memo, but he didn't follow it because he went by a different code. And, he apologized to the kids in the audience, and he said that, I'm here to make you guys winners. And I'm here to tell you how I made Michael Jordan a winner. And I'm here to tell you how I make elite athletes even better than their peers.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Is high-level people need high-level people around them. And that's what I work to be. No matter how successful a chiropractor was, I could visit with them, and I through just some of these foundational principles, they're scalable. If I've got some chiropractor that's just getting started and has 5 new patients a month, or if I've got a chiropractor that has over 100 new patients a month and is a multi-million-dollar DC, the same principles apply to help them become even higher performers, especially in the 4 key areas of life: love, health, career, and money. That's a great story.
Yeah, I've come from nothing, and I follow some of these principles, and what I've done really well is learned how to build relationships with people.
Yeah, you're a cool guy, so here we are.
And being able to meet you at New Beginnings was something of a growth period for me. Fred Schofield pulled me to the side and he said, "What are you doing to yourself?" I go, "I don't know. I'm working. I'm going around. I'm spreading the word of chiropractic." And he goes, "No, what are you doing to yourself?" And he slugged me in my arm, and he hit me like I did something wrong. And
I wouldn't get in a fight with that guy. I can tell you right now. That's a tough guy right there.
Well, the reason he did that is because he met me 10 years ago, and he cared about me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I became friends with his sons. And I became friends with his group of rhinos that he coached. And he told me that if I'm going to be representing the chiropractic profession, then I have to start looking the part. So he put me on an 18-month plan, which I'm on month number 4. This past month, I dropped 19 pounds.
Good for you.
I've been waking up, like I told you, every morning at 6 a.m., where a typical day would have started for me around 8 or 9.
Yep.
And now I've retooled myself into a winner. And,
well, that's right.
And now people around me are recognizing that. They're learning more from me. I'm becoming that much more intentional with my delivery of what I say, how I say it. I say less ums. I say less ands. I've cleaned up my language. Luke and I just moved from Denver, Colorado to Grand Junction, where we were in a city of, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people, but we moved from Denver to a city of 60,000 people. Life slowed down. Quality of life improved. I just hiked the highest peak out here a couple weeks ago, which is a 13,000-foot mountain. We climbed 2,000 vertical feet in our first hour. And beautiful. People that have lived here like their whole lives have never hit the top of that mountain.
Yeah, we just say you want to be a physical and a mental specimen. See, I want to be at my physical and mental best so that any patient I may see or any chiropractor I deal with will then get my best, because I'm at my physical and mental best. I want to be a physical specimen and a mental specimen. I fuel my body for physical performance, and I fuel my body to be as smart as I can be, because I may need to make a decision or give a bit of advice that might completely change the course of a human being's life. And I mean in a huge, multi-million-dollar, huge relationship sort of a way. And I take that seriously. Many people out there who have had many consultants in the past will attest that they've had consultants give them advice that costs them a ton. Well, that doesn't happen here. We don't give out advice that costs people money. Okay, everything we do causes the chiropractor to advance, because we want to be as solid and sure-footed as we can be in all of our decision-making and our actions. Yeah, I love that. I'll tell you a very quick story here. I flew to Denver to visit some client offices, got in the car, drove up through 4 hours of wintertime blizzardy hell to Grand Junction, visit a couple other offices, the chiropractors I know in the area. And then I drove 4 more hours through blizzardy hell to find a small town south of Salt Lake City. This is all in one day. It was a long day. And I got there because I was going to visit one of the top Doberman breeders in the world. All right. And that gentleman just happened to have a farm type place south of Salt Lake City. In fact, I Googled best Dobermans in the world, and this is where I ended up. And sure enough, I got there. It was late, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, wintertime. Made it. Walk in, and I'm starting to interview this guy about these dogs. But then I realized he was actually interviewing me, and I've got an interesting Doberman story about where Dobermans came into my life. But then he goes, "Well, would you like to see one?" And I said, "Bet your ass I'd like to see one. What do you think I drove through hell for to get here?" So he brings one in, and something interesting happened, and I'll be brief. And this dog, he was sitting there kind of hanging out, petting it a little bit, and then he goes, then his son came in. His son's about 6, 7 years old. "What are you doing, Dad?" "I'm just showing these nice people some of our dogs, son." And then the guy says to me, "Would you like to see a demonstration?" And we said, "Sure." And so he stands up, and he gives out a command in German, like wham! And the dog, boom, sat right next to him instantly. He gave another command, and the dog, wham, went to the other side and sat down instantly. Then he gave a command to sort of go after the kid. So he gave out the command, and this devil-looking, pointy-eared, physical monster of nothing but muscle and velvet Doberman started to go after this kid and backed him into the corner in this small room, linoleum floor. It was loud as you can get. And he's got these foaming teeth right in front of this kid's face, backing this kid into the corner. And I'm going, whoa! And then the guy starts to kind of yell at us over the dog's bark. He goes, now, if I gave him the command, he would attack. Now, he may hesitate for a second because he knows the kid, but he would do it anyway because he has to. Then he goes, whap! Another command. Dog comes back next to him, sits down. He releases the dog out of the command. The kid comes back over, starts pulling on the dog's ears, playing with the dog, and the dog is licking his face. And he goes, Tory, that's the difference between a Doberman and other dogs. Drive. The difference is drive. And I learned a lesson for the rest of my life right there, and that's the difference. And you're talking about yourself right now. You're talking about you've developed more drive. Drive for higher ground. Drive to become more successful physically, to then become more successful professionally, more successful personally. And in chiropractic day requires drive. A certain level of drive. And we want to be good at that. We want to be very smart in all the steps that we take.
Well, Fred Schofield was at Doberman to me the same weekend I saw you at New Beginnings, and I had been out having a couple drinks the night before. I didn't feel good, and he actually had me like jump down and do push-ups with him. And this is probably nothing new for people to hear the story about Fred, because he used to challenge people every morning that would go to his training until that they would fall over and throw up and go home. Like, he would push people to their absolute extreme levels to where they would quit. And he only wanted the people around him that were going to stay on the same par as him to be able to push themselves to a level. And that's who he surrounded himself with.
Yeah, so there it is, drive. In fact, here at Winner's Edge, we have 2 big boot camps every year. See, my office is in an 11,000 square foot mixed martial arts training center that has my office in it. Okay? Now, I've worked out such a deal here. I have my brand new office, 1,800 square feet, okay? And I have a deal where there's no rent for 10 years. I pay 0 rent. 0 for 10 years, and I've got the ultimate facility, not only for my practice, but also what we call the Winner's Edge Chiropractic Training Center. So I'm able to hold boot camps here because I have a facility that no consultant on earth has ever had or would probably think to have. And so we do 2 major boot camp type of events every year. They're the most physically demanding events that have ever existed in chiropractic. They are physical demolitions, the hardest workouts you have ever had, and we will do 3 of those a day. And that will be part of the core of the from sun up to sundown, 15, 16-hour solid training. We'll do 2 of those days back to back. And that's why nearly everybody that attends a Winner's Edge Bootcamp will break a major practice record within a few weeks, because you'll never be the same again after something that's that intense. And because I have a facility like this, and the way we coordinate it with here and the hotel, we really have an opportunity to do some high-level trainings. And we're looking forward to the next one that's coming up out here in May. So yeah, Fred's got the great idea there: physical training, discipline, drive, and because hey, the needs out there are great, and we've got to be at our best to reach as many people as we can.
So this gets me to the next question. I'm off script big time here, but do you ever plan on taking the success principles mainstream and pushing yourself to influence in a higher group of people, just not the chiropractic world? Or are you so honed in on chiropractic that you look at the chiropractic profession as something that you've developed into your bloodstream?
Yeah, well, one thing I'm very proud of is that I never got out of my lane. I stay in my own lane. See, many chiropractors get cruising along and they get out of their own lane. They start doing all this other non-chiropractic stuff, and they wonder why they get smashed, because you're out of your lane. I stay in my own lane, and my lane is the chiropractic lane. And that's enough, because the need within the chiropractic profession is so great. Now, I do get asked from time to time, certain high-level companies that will want me to do some training type things, and I would do that maybe if they asked nicely and it didn't interfere with me taking care of the people under my care. See, I often get called the stealth consultant. Why? Well, because I'm focused on my people, my events, and my action. We really don't do hardly any marketing. I'm not out to be popular. I'm not out to try to speak at places and say, look at me, I'm a popular speaker. I don't care about that stuff. Okay? I can do all that, right? But that's not what I'm out to do. I'm the guy that's sitting back, that's this powerhouse monster that when I engage with somebody, major things happen. All right. And so I would do some more of those things if it came down to it, but the need in chiropractic is great. But I'm here to reach as many people as I can, any way I can, in a positive way.
So where do you see the chiropractic profession in about 20 years?
Well, here's the situation. What's the biggest problem in chiropractic today? There's 2 or 3 of them. You guys know what they are? Take a guess.
Well, I think one of them is the education source.
Yeah, there's that, but that's fairly generic. Education, what? So what's lacking there?
Well, leadership.
Leadership as it relates to teaching what?
Well, I've never been through a chiropractic program, but I do know that the chiropractor comes out with no certainty in the business world. We're creating people that come out of school with the mentality of, Peace Corps mentality, that they want to go out and give love and serve, but they don't want to train themselves to become successful business people.
Wow, that was beautifully said. I hope you let me use that, the Peace Corps mentality. Here's the few things as I see it, right? I got a chiropractic college right down the road. Here I am right here. I'm in the trenches. There's the biggest problems in chiropractic today are this. In no particular order, debt. The debt that a chiropractor has is astonishing. While simultaneously, insurance companies pay less, if much at all. Okay, so the debt that the chiropractor has, the cost to start a practice. The X-Treme machine I have here was $60,000. My first X-Treme machine 20 years ago was $18,000. Maybe you get a decent digital machine for less than that in the 30s now. Okay, fine, but it's still 15 or it's twice as much as it was 20 years ago. And the debt is twice as much as it was 20 years ago, but the insurance companies pay a fourth as much as they paid 15 years ago. So we have tremendous debt. We have third-party or insurance companies paying less. We have schools that have a complete lack of the depth of philosophy required to give the chiropractor the strength to battle against all the forces that are out there. And then we have a technique weakness. A technique weakness because people have cell phones and iPads that they're in front of all the time, whereas all I had to play with was a model spine and practicing technique with my friends. Because if you had a computer in your house, you hardly ever touched it. It was for like writing a paper. But now there's so many distractions that the newer chiropractor, one, thinks that money is going to be handed to them. They find out they have huge debt. Their depth of philosophy makes them very, very weak. Their technique isn't good enough that anybody wants to come and pay for what they do. And then no insurance companies really are out there paying that much. So this is the reality. Now people say, oh, Tory, gloom and doom. No, we talk in terms of reality, and that's how we're able to be highly successful. So knowing that that's what's happening in the future, chiropractic college will not get cheaper. Insurance companies are not going to pay anymore. Social media and all that's not going to become any less. Okay? And the caliber of what's happening in a lot of the schools probably will not increase much, except for little pockets or certain instructors here and there that are fantastic. And so we're heading into a time, and this is very fascinating, and the term is posterity. See, way back when, after like World War II, people wanted to have kids. They were excited because they knew the kids' future was going to be better than their own. After the Great Depression, people have kids. Oh, kids, you won't have to suffer like your mom and I had to. But now we're at the first point in the history of humankind where the next generation will not have it as good.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, Movewell University, Pure Chiro Notes, Dr. Alok Trivedi, The Black Diamond Club, Element Mattresses, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Vita Chiropractic, The Universal Traction System, MedZone, Vantage Point Marketing, and Imaging Services. Let's hustle. Wow.
And when you look at this, you realize it's true. Now, this does not mean you can't be super successful and you can make it, but we're talking about it'll be, you got to do it on your own, you might say. Okay. All right. So here we sit in this scenario with these chiropractic colleges, and they got to keep people coming in. See, chiropractic colleges today have simply become debt creation outposts for banks.
Yep.
That's what it is. Okay. Now you still have to go there and get the license to go out and practice chiropractic, and you can build a great life. But the percentage of chiropractors that are successful today is nothing like it used to be, because before the debt was so low, insurance paid a lot easier, there was a lot more fluff, you didn't have to be quite as good, but your philosophy was better and your technique was better, and insurance has paid some and all this. And so we all became chiropractors because we know a chiropractor like Bob Larson, the girl's dad, who worked on me on the futon couch in Bozeman, Montana, right? See, he was one of those people, right? He was a successful chiropractor that inspired me to become a chiropractor, and that's what spawns that. But now, from what you've described with the face of chiropractic, how many people is that causing and inspiring to go to become a chiropractor today? So if you want to go become a chiropractor today, yes, I'm all for it. But you're going to have, what's our word for the day? You're going to have drive, and you're going to have to want to be good at it and develop your hands-on skill and all of these things, and you can be a super successful chiropractor. Okay, we got lots of chiropractors, 70, 80, 90, $100,000 a month, using all of our systems, all of our debt elimination strategies, all the stuff that I've invented, all the top teachings from the past that I've been able to associate and assimilate into a comprehensive program. Fine, but you're going to have to be serious about it, because if you're not serious, you will get brushed off, just like you were describing.
So what's your threshold? How many people can you take on, and what is your ability to coach the masses?
Well, that is a smart question. And here's the thing. It was here about 6 months ago where if you saw my schedule for the week, there was nothing else I could do. I would have, like, say, blocks of like 13 coaching calls in a row. That would be like 13 report of findings in a row with no breaks. I would sit down for 3 or 4 hours with a headset on, and I would not physically move for 3 or 4 hours. I'd get a little break, and then I would go and do it again. Okay, because of how often I was having private coaching calls with chiropractors. And then my life completely changed. And guess what I discovered? Zoom. Zoom is what changed my life.
Instead of one-on-one, one-to-many.
So now, like today, we have a Zoom call. I have all of our people on the screen. The Zoom calls are recorded. So I do like a mini seminar every week. And of course, many people are on it. But if they're not, no problem. Okay, because it's recorded, they can listen to it later like a podcast, or they can watch the video later. Brilliant. So since I've gone to the Zoom platform, I don't have to have as many private calls, and so it's opened up my schedule and really about quadrupled my capacity here. Otherwise, I was maxed out. So now we have quite a bit of, we can always get a bigger seminar room, but Zoom has lots of room. Now I've got lots of time in my schedule for private calls. All my clients get my private email. They can talk to me every single day if they want to. We're very high level and high performance, but yet the cost structure we have is less than almost any coaching I ever received in the past for coaches that did nothing like what I do. I was paying $2,000 a month, $1,750 a month, and I was paying sometimes say $1,000 a month, but I never ever quote talk to the guy ever. But so we're able to have it be where it's less than what you get from a typical new patient every month, and you have all the Zoom calls, the private calls with me, all of our videos, the events, all of the stuff we have. So I've worked very hard here through my physical effort and mental effort to create the most complete and comprehensive and powerful sort of, there's no excuse for not being successful program that exists in chiropractic today. And if you looked at what we do and how we do it and compared it to other things out there, you would go, wow, that's something right there. Wow, look at that. Wow. Just look at how many CD sets and DVD sets I published and compare that to any other consultant and tell me who you think is dedicated.
Well, I'm learning a great deal from you just talking to you. And the next question I have for you, I think, is a zinger as well. What advice would you give to somebody that did get high-level reimbursements in the insurance industry back when that was the thing? What advice would you give to them of how they could make an impact on the future of chiropractic?
Of course, and we've got those people in wonderful pockets in the country where they're still getting paid quite a bit per visit. Great. Fine, of course, you deserve it. Take it. Damn right. Okay? But in a case like that, Now, just because they might have higher collection per visit, they may have personal habits and they may have no money. We've got people collecting $30,000 a month becoming millionaires. I got people collecting $80,000 a month that are behind on their taxes. But here's the whole point. If a person is able to collect well and their technique is excellent and systems and procedures and team and generosity and they're giving quite a bit away and all of these things, and they're able to build some financial power, well, oh my goodness, when you have a little bit of financial power, see, listen carefully now, money reaches farther than your hands. So I'll say this at almost any training I'll do. Hurry up and make some money already so you can do some good in the world and quit worrying about yourself all the time. Hurry up and make some money already so you can do some good in the world. So we have many sort of secret agendas here. I want to see chiropractors become successful. I want to see them get out of debt. I want to see them do this and that. But also I want to see them have generosity, because you can change a lot of things with some money, whether you're sending Bibles to Libya or you're rescuing Dobermans. We had a little girl the other day, Doberman girl, had a bunch of cigarette burns on her chest and on her face. What are you going to do? Make some money already so you can have some generosity and change some things. So if you have a practice that's able to collect a little bit more, we want to get the debt under control, build up the financial power, and then from there, we inspire chiropractors to do similarly. We're able to do some nice things with our money and lead people and share, and then get to the, get our cold toes into the, the dark river of death way down at the end of our time and look back and go, hey, I fought the good fight. I finished my work. I did something, or I reached some people. I reached some people with my hands. I reached some people with my thoughts and my words, and I reached some people with some money. And that's a good life.
Well, from the money I earn, I really, tithe back to my performance and into the profession to where I can become a greater statesman for the chiropractic message. And over the past couple of years, I feel like really, based on what you're saying, is I've invested in myself. And I've learned how to become a megaphone and speak purely of what chiropractic is and what it isn't, and really bring the chiropractor's voice to the forefront, and really giving people a voice that didn't have a voice before. And, I really focused on the women chiropractors and giving them a bigger stage with what we're doing. I'm really focusing on the student chiropractor, giving them a voice, because I really consider them already doctors. Oh
my goodness, are you kidding me? School happens fast.
Yeah.
And these people, they graduate and they're not equipped. They don't understand the business. They just don't understand. And so much of this starts from kindergarten and on up, where there's just sort of a lack of real life world training that can happen here. And so the chiropractor graduates and they're not equipped. And that's when they call someone like me. And we'll take someone who's within their last year of chiropractic college, and we'll start the whole process, and away we'll go. And that's how we look at ourselves. Chiropractic college gets you the degree, and then you call someone like us, okay, to help you become successful in the business. See, a chiropractor is only three things. You're a promoter and a marketer of chiropractic services. And then if you get anybody to come in, then you get to be a chiropractor, run the chiropractic practice. Then yes, you make money the second the money touches your hands. You become a businessman, you become a businesswoman. So here at Winner's Edge, you got to be a master at all three things. A master, promoter, and marketer of yourself, of chiropractic, of your office. Then, of course, you have to be a master at everything inside the office: technique, skills, systems, procedures, team training, all of that stuff. Then you have to become a master at handling money, all the debt elimination strategies, accumulation strategies, tax paying and accounting strategies. We have all of this down to a science. Our money flow architecture is a thing of absolute beauty. There's never been anything like it. In fact, I have my own accountant is at practically all of our events. See, because the success team for the chiropractor is the chiropractor, the consultant, me, and their accountant. That is the core of the chiropractor success team, and nowhere in there is their wife or their husband or their buddies. Okay? They're confidants and but they're not the core. The core is you, me, and the accountant. Okay? That is the core of the success team, and those have to be intact properly for anybody to reach the high levels. All right? And then all these other people that are in our lives, yes, they're important, but when it comes down to serious decision making, it's with the high-end consultant and with the accountant. All right? And this is true in all levels of business. So Yeah, we want to be great promoter marketer, great chiropractor, great with business, all three of those things. It stands on the foundation of your chiropractic philosophy and your belief system about yourself, about chiropractic history, chiropractic's place in the world, what everybody needs. All right, that foundational belief system and depth of philosophy, and you've got those intact. There's no stopping you.
So what are some of your key marketing strategies? How do you market yourself and your coaching program?
Well, I focus, okay, you have a choice. I have a choice today. Take care of my existing people or try to go after new people. That's the decision I have to make today. And what I'm doing today is I've invented a high-performance group within the group. We must take these high performers and we must drive them to the next level. So I've engineered the way to do that with the high performers in the group. Fine. So I personally don't do a ton of, quote, marketing. I would have to really outsource that, okay? Other than what do we do? Yes, we've got Facebook posts. Yes, we might have a Facebook ad out there for chiropractors and for students. Because see, here's the thing. I want to give away my best stuff. In fact, I have a thing right now for chiropractors and students on Facebook. They click on it and it goes free to some of the best videos I have on debt elimination and increasing the number of visits that people come in and see you, my best stuff. In fact, I just put this into this format, the Money Chiropractic and You book, okay? Just put it into one. It used to be 3 booklets, but now I just consolidated it and revised it into a book. Money Chiropractic and You, Thoughts and Solutions for the Most Difficult Practice Questions, okay? And if you can look in the other room, we ordered 1,000 of these that I'm going to give away. They ain't free. And this is my best stuff right here. My best, the smartest stuff that I can think of that I can put into 150 pages. So I want to give away as much of my best stuff as I can. And I know that through that, people will be naturally drawn to me and want to be a client. Okay? But I could take that to another level, but I would have to outsource much of that because I don't get out of my lane. I stay here, see, because I say to my client, do you want me out trying to market people or do you want me looking at what? Here's my client's stats from last month, okay? There's no consultant really that goes through these as carefully as I do. I know what's going on with my clients. I know what their goals are. I know what their best visits in a day. I know what their collections are for the month. And I'm here to create maybe a smaller group, say under 200 DCs who are success assassins, okay, versus have 1,000 people in a room that I don't know, and then I feel great about how big my group is, even though the overall success within the group isn't that high, and I'm going to hang my ego on the handful that are successful that would have been successful without me. But I want to have a group that's much tighter, much more high performance, incredible success all the way across the board, okay? I want more comprehensive success. Within a smaller group. I'm more like the Navy SEAL type of a person versus having just a bunch of people in the military.
So I guess you've answered our next question for us without us asking you. So that's very intuitive. The next question that we're going to jump into is, so what do you read? What do you read to fire you up? What do you listen to? Are you into like podcasts? Are you into audiobooks? What do you enjoy? Or do you just listen to what you record and refine it and make it better?
This will sound odd, but I'll be honest with you. I do like watching videos I've made. Why? Because it helps me become better at my delivery. And go try to get a chiropractor to make a video of their report of findings so they can make it better. Yet if they opened up a lemonade stand, I promise you they're going to test the lemonade before they sell it, but they won't test the report of findings on themselves before they sell it to the public. You can't adjust yourself, but you can do report of findings and you can improve your communication skill. See, in chiropractic, it really is this simple. Think about how simple this is. A human being who you don't know is going to see you first. They're going to see you normally as a chiropractor. And so what they see is going to make or break you. And if that's okay, then maybe that potential patient will hear you speak and they will hear what you now say. So there's what they were able to see. Now they're going to hear what you say. And if you say the right things in the right way, then maybe you'll get their hands on them and they'll actually be able to feel something that you did with your hands. So it's the, look, listen, feel. They're going to have to see you, then they're going to hear you, and then they're going to feel your work. And those are the three things you have to not leave to chance. They all have to be incredibly good, okay? And and so then back to this. So then back to me in my own study, I read a very narrow band of things, okay? I like the best older success teachings that are around. Like I was mentioning, The Science of Getting Rich from 1912. Does that not seem like an interesting title? I'll just recite something from that book and tell me if you think this is important or not. Life has advanced so far and become so complex that even the most ordinary man or woman must have a significant amount of wealth to live a life that even remotely approaches completeness. That was 1912. So I love the original teachings. See, people love Tony Robbins, but Tony Robbins came from Jim Rohn. Who did Jim Rohn come from? Who made Jim Rohn into Jim Rohn?
Napoleon Hill?
Earl Schoaf. There's one CD. It's the only recording ever of Earl Schoaf. It's about 20 minutes long, and it's How to Become a Millionaire. Might want to get that one. Might want to get that. Okay? Incredible. I like black and white, original, extremely smart thoughts and teachings that stand the test of time. I'll give you an example. You may not know what the master key is, but I can share it with you if you want. It's in the public domain. You can actually download it for free. In my home command center, in Winner's Edge, we have many different terms. We have the command center at your office that you run the office and your business from. We recommend you also have a command center at home. In my home command center sits the master key, and I never stop reading it. It's printed out. It's like 230 pages, single-sided, and I read one page and flip it over, and I just go and I think and I do the little exercises it says, and when it's done, I flip it back over and I start over again. And I've been reading the same copy of the Master Key for 9 years now. I never stop reading it. I'm into mastery of a handful of things. Not, hey, what's that new book? And trying to devour a bunch of new stuff while at the same time I master nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? And I love the Gary Vee books and the book by Victor Bach, How to Solve All Your Money Problems Forever. These are tremendous books. Okay, of course, the Gladwell books are great books. They're very great and very interesting books. But I want to have mastery at understanding the real core things that make a difference versus a bunch of glossing over a bunch of different things.
I learned that from John DeMartini. He said something about self-mastery. And I've always been fascinated by self-mastery ever since I've had an opportunity to meet him 5 years ago. Yeah, it is a great story. We have him at every one of our boot camps. He zooms in from Tokyo, wherever he might be, and we spend a little time with him that way. And yes, that's exactly right. It's a matter of mastery and self-mastery. All help is self-help. And so you're right, I want to understand myself more because I'm in competition with myself. There's no competition out there among other people. The only competition is me. It's me getting myself figured out. Okay, I'll give you an example of how weird this gets. I had a chiropractor on the line the other day. He sent me a thing. He was seeing 120 visits a week. He wants to get to 250 a week, a wonderful goal. And he's thinking about joining the group. And I say, okay, I'm just going to do some coaching now, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what has to happen for you to get to 250 a week. And I grab the calculator and I say, how many mornings do you work? How many afternoons? There's a capacity formula here. Again, it's physics. It's math that runs the success of a chiropractic office. Once you understand the math, you're able to then grow. If you don't understand the math, forget it. Well, anyway, so I show him the math. I say, right now you're averaging 6.2 minutes a patient. Now, if you keep your schedule the same, you have 780 available minutes to see people. So it's 780 available minutes, and I grab my calculator here. He has 780 available minutes. He wants to see 250 people a week. That means he's going to have to average 3.1 minutes a patient. Okay? Now, it's not me telling him this. This is just math. You got fixed minutes, and you want to see twice as many people in that time. Well, they don't come in when there's nobody there. They want to come in all at the same time. It's like a restaurant. Hey, we have room for more people. No, you don't, because nobody wants to eat dinner at 3:30. They all want to come in at 6. Okay? So it's a matter of how many people you can see at 6. Not trying to fit in around the empty times. Well, the whole point with this guy was, hey, this is what you have to do. Your treatment time has to come down and be refined, and this, that, and the other thing. I get an email back.
I'm not going to join your group at this time. I don't believe that I need to lower my treatment time to 3 minutes, and blah, 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 blah. And he's like arguing with me over the most basic math you could ever have that governs the success and volume of a chiropractic office. It's very simple. For the volume to go up, your time has to go down. And chiropractors don't understand that. They want to argue against it because they think they have lots of time for people in the day because they're fooled. Chiropractors are very easily fooled. It looks like one thing on the surface, but what's really going on is different, and I want to show that to them. Now, this poor guy's case, of the 4 things, lazy, weak, cheap, and stupid, he's stupid. He's not smart enough to understand really what's going on and what's required for him to grow. Therefore, he will remain bound. Can't help a person like that. And I hang up the phone with him, and I jump on the phone with a Top Gun chiropractor in our group who just broke 400 visits a week and is collecting $90,000 a month and just paid cash for the new swimming pool in the backyard. And I say, Rich, what do you like most about the pool? And he goes, hearing my kids giggle and laugh when they jump in it.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
That reminds me of a lot of times people ask me, why would you move from Denver to Grand Junction?
Because it's beautiful up there, that's why.
You know what I told him?
You can go to Denver anytime you want.
I can.
So
but you know what I told him? I want to hear the birds chirp.
Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah,
that's why I came here, because I want to hear the birds chirp, and I don't want to spend 45 minutes to get to the mountains when I can go 10 minutes now. Like I can get to the best mountain trail in 10 minutes from my house.
Oh yeah, it's an incredible area there. Beautiful. And you got Salt Lake City on one side if you want to go there. You got Denver on the other side. You got a good airport that'll get you wherever you want to go. It's a beautiful life.
I have to agree with you.
Yep.
Well, Dr. Tory, we're coming up on the edge of our time with you.
That's right.
Is there anything that we didn't ask you that you would like to share with our audience today?
There's so much to say. If you look at yourself right now in your life, and you look at where you want to be in a year from now, or 5 or 10 or 15 years, we simply want to get better. We want more. We want more of what matters to us. So if I were going to just lay out 5 or 6 things that I think are keys to this success, it's going to look like this. Number 1, we're going to have clearly written down goals that you carry with you. We make our signature orange card that all of our people carry around with them. We make that at our seminars. But you have your written down goals you carry with you. We're going to get your money flow in order by making sure your payroll is handled perfectly and the accounting is handled perfectly, so you can be giving money away automatically. The debt elimination plan is also automated, and your accumulation strategy is automated, so your net worth is changing literally every week of your life. So the money flow is in order. Of course, you realize that, hey, we've got to do something every day. We're going to wake up. We've got 16 hours in the day. We might as well be great at it. We might as well serve people with chiropractic. All right, so we might as well decide to become really good at our physical hands-on care to reach people and build an incredible life for ourselves and everybody else around us. So clear goals, great money flow in order, take care of your health and fitness, really care about your practice and about people, and do it in such a way that you're able to become more generous over time. Those are some key things, and you stick with that. You won't go wrong. And remember now, God is in control. Nothing that we see here is outside of his grasp to fix instantly. He can take every single wood door and put it right back into the tree that it came from in a flash. So God is in control. Everything's going according to plan. You have nothing to worry about, nothing to be anxious about. It's all just a game. It's all just a game. In 60, 70 years, whatever your stresses are ain't going to matter anyway. So you might as well just go for it now and deliver the goods and see how many people you can reach in a positive way.
Quite amazing, quite amazing. I feel like you're channeling DeMartini, and I feel like you've studied his teachings quite well. And I think that some of these things that you're sharing with me, you've learned from the masters. You've learned from the masters of our age. And I think that that's definitely going to have an impact on the listener of the Chiro Hustle podcast. And from Luke and myself, I just want to say thank you for taking some time with us today to share with us your knowledge and what you have in store for your group. And if people do want to know where to find you and your information, where can we send them to?
WINNERSEDGEConsulting.com.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Well, We just want to say thank you and thanks for sharing your information with us today.
Oh, no, thank you. You're reaching people. You're changing thousands of people's lives. And I'm excited for you. I'm excited for this podcast. And hopefully you'll have me on again sometime down the road.
We can't wait. I think this episode's going to be very well received. And we were just very happy for you to spend some time with us today.
Yeah, remember the word drive. Drive. That will get you where you want to go. When in doubt, blast into action. Doberman philosophy.
All right. Well, it was nice meeting you today, Dr. Tory, and I hope to see you again soon at one of these next events coming up.
I feel the same way.
All right. Cheers. Have a great day.
Thanks. Rock and roll.
All right. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.